Huge thanks to Digital CYBERCHERRIES for the review code. As a kid, I was always fascinated by the world of Toy Story. How the toys moved, solved their problems, and lived in this huge world that to us humans is basically considered normal sized. I thought it would be cool to be a toy and be able to explore every nook and cranny of my house, to see things from a much smaller perspective. Needless to say, Hypercharged immediately caught my attention. Hypercharged Unboxed is a co-op wave-based shooter, both from the first and third person perspective, with some tower defense mechanics, in which you're an action figure who needs to protect hypercores from all sorts of evil toys. Right away I want to say that this game looks phenomenal. It has this shiny plastic art style that captures perfectly what a toy looks like, while still keeping the environments incredibly realistic. From the warehouse of a store to the bathroom, these areas look fantastic, and they're filled with satire products that are quite clever, such as the OP Please Nerf toy guns. The developers really nailed what it feels like to be a tiny action figure in a huge world, and it's incredibly satisfying to explore all of these areas. You can customize your action figure in many ways. You can change the type of action figure it is, ranging from a G.I. Joe to something that could be straight out of Warhammer. Weapons, heads, skins. You can even have an avatar and change your figure's name with prefixes. I, of course, named mine the Furious Rage Lad because, well, I mean, look at this lad. There are so many cosmetics to unlock, and the best part is, they're not behind a paywall or a season pass or even a battle pass. Everything that you can unlock in this game can be earned by playing the game and completing challenges, which is exactly how it should be in my opinion. Hypercharge has quite a few game modes, but the main one is the Waves mode. You and up to 3 other friends have to fight waves of enemy toys in order to protect 3 hypercores. You can even play it in split screen. I really wish more games would do this. Split screen is still very much wanted these days, unlike what a lot of companies may believe, and I thank the devs for including it. I would use it with a friend. If I had one! Before the horde of evil toys is unleashed, you have some time to build your defenses, explore the map, and find some tokens. These last two are especially fun and go hand in hand. There are single tokens spread around the map along with packs. This is going to be your currency to build said defenses, so obviously you want to get as much as possible. They are very cleverly placed around the map so that you can jump, run, drop, and all around parkour to get them, meaning you also get to explore every corner of the map while hunting down this currency. In addition to this, every map has collectibles and secrets hidden around for you to find. They usually require you to complete a jumping puzzle or a puzzle to get to them, so you have even more incentive to look around. And look around you will, because this game's movement is so smooth it'll encourage you to do exactly that. It feels great to jump around and climb, not only to get collectibles but also position yourself correctly to shoot down some mean bots. To defend your hypercores, you have 3 tools at your disposal: batteries, buildables, and your BB gun. Batteries are, well, batteries. You need to find them around the map and stick them into one of the cores. This will allow the core's shield to regenerate after taking damage. If the shield is empty and the core takes damage to its HP bar, you won't be able to get that perfect score at the end, but more on that in a minute. Buildables are pretty straightforward, really. They are traps, turrets, or walls that you build around your core. You unlock more of them as you play and complete objectives. The ones that I tried all had a use and worked pretty well, although I do wish we had more freedom of placement on the map. Restraining the player like this takes away some of the strategy of the tower defense mechanics. Now, I realize doing something like this would probably require an overhaul and redesign of some maps, but still, I think it could be a welcome change. And finally, your BB gun. That is actually many guns in one. You start off with your default rifle, but during build phases you can sometimes see some attachments hanging around the map, or you can buy them from the nearest box shop. These attachments range from simple stocks to heartbeat sensors, which were a bit of a blast from the past because I haven't seen one of these since Modern Warfare 2. They can also be entirely new guns, like a shotgun or maybe a sniper, maybe a frickin' flamethrower. All of these feel good to play with and sound great. They're nothing special visually, but I suppose that's why we have the weapon skins. Personally, my favorite combo has to be the pulse rifle with the scope attachment. It takes a little bit to fire, but man does it feel good to shoot that damn thing. Accompanying the satisfying gunplay is a satisfying soundtrack full of 80s synthwave and rock music. This was a pleasant surprise that added even more energy and excitement to the gameplay. Highway to Heaven is a personal favorite of mine. It's very AC/DC-like and you will hear no complaints from me. Enemies in this game are great. They are pretty varied, expertly thought out, and brilliantly animated. You have your usual mean bots that just walk in a straight line, the chungas, which are blob-like creatures that explode when they die, and the spinners, which are my personal favorite, literal Beyblades spinning erratically just like the real thing, amongst many others. Later on, you also get huge boss fights, which will absolutely one-hit kill you if you get too close. These are especially cool and once again nail the toy aesthetic in terms of size. It's really well done. The only real issue I have with the enemies is that things can get pretty hectic visually when there's a lot of them on screen. It doesn't really help when you're trying to figure out where you're shooting, or which core is getting hit, or where you're taking damage from. I played with bots as my allies, but the game difficulty does scale depending on how many players are in the game, so you can easily go through the game by yourself without any issues. However, I do have to say that these are probably the best co-op AI I've ever had. They're intelligent, they don't get stuck, they shoot pretty well, they're trustworthy, and strategically they're pretty sound. Besides, of course, the occasional hiccup when it comes to placement of traps, but that problem is easily solved because you can just destroy their traps and replace them with your own. They won't even complain about it. Although I did notice that they seem pretty infatuated with the gambling machine in the first map, but only really on hard mode. I thought this was a pretty funny bug, if it even is a bug, but obviously I would much prefer that they'd spent the tokens on actually protecting the cores or upgrading their weapons instead of thinking that they're in Las Vegas. Successfully destroy all waves of enemies and defend at least one core and you'll be awarded with a medal depending on how well you did. These medals are what you need to unlock certain things like maps or cosmetics. Each difficulty has their own set of medals, so if you want a certain skin for your action figure or weapon, you might need a ruby or emerald medal on the hard difficulty in a certain map. And that is pretty much it really, that's the gameplay loop of the Waves mode. There's also a very well done tutorial that you can play first, so that you're slowly introduced to the mechanics instead of just jumping right into it. I would recommend it even if you're experienced with this sort of game. You also have other modes like Deathmatch, Plague Mode, Free Roam, and Party Mode. Free Roam is pretty self-explanatory really. You pick a map that you want to explore and you're free to do so. They'll even put in some random target practice toys for you to shoot at. Deathmatch is your typical PvP mode. I couldn't find anyone online to play with as it seems like the game is pretty dead when it comes to servers and matchmaking, which makes me a little sad because the gameplay is quite good. I played against bots who completely tore me a new one, but I did enjoy how fast-paced the gun battles were. Plague Mode is another PvP mode. One random player is infected and has to infect all the other players by simply touching them, while the not-infected have to capture designated zones and survive to win. Once again, I played this with bots, but they don't seem to work that well with this mode. There was one round where the infected got stuck somewhere and my team just sort of waited to win. And last but not least, Party Mode. This mode has two local PvP only minigames, Tank Battle and Spinner Arena. Tank Battle is pretty straightforward. You're a tank and you have to find your friends and destroy them. I found the physics of the tanks to be a bit strange and all around messy when moving around, but maybe that's because I was playing with the mouse and keyboard instead of the controller. Spinner Arena is a bit more of the same, but you're a Beyblade, so you're basically having a Beyblade battle, which is amazing. There's not really much to say about these two, but I still think they're a lovely and serviceable addition. With all of that said and done, I have to say that I had a fantastic time with Hypercharged, and I consider it to be an absolute hidden gem that needs to be discovered by more people. The gunplay is great, the movement is fluid, smooth, and has a lot of verticality to it. The enemies are varied, they're interesting, and above all, well animated. The maps are huge, they feel huge, have a lot of secrets, and all around they're expertly designed, even if the defense placement part is a bit anti-strategy. The art style and presentation in general is incredibly well done and really shows that this game was inspired by Toy Story. The visuals are absolutely my favorite part. So if you like the toy aesthetic and want a new tower defense shooter to play by yourself or with friends, I highly recommend you take a look at Hypercharged Unboxed. This game has a lot of love and care put into it and there's a lot of content here for you to enjoy. It's honestly a no-brainer for the asking price. It really blows my mind that only 5 people have worked on this game and have continually updated it for free. Not only that, but they're also in the process of porting the game to the Steam Deck and working on a whole campaign mode with a fully fledged story. It's simply extraordinary and I wish Digital CYBERCHERRIES nothing but the best in the future. Thank you for watching this review and I will see you next time. Take care!